Thank you very much and welcome. My name is Gerald Loosehelm. I've been in the society since just before AS20, the fall or the spring of AS19. I started jewelry as a hobby back then, and it became a career of all things. But today we're going to be making basically simple replica of a simple brass. Let me change cameras. Okay, we're going to be making a simple brass dress hook, which here you can see that it's three pieces of brass wound with copper. I'm using the copper for the winding because I like the look of it. There, you can use brass wire as well. And I'm going to quickly start with a quick blurb for Tournaments Illuminated, our magazine for the SCA. If you don't already have a subscription, please go to sca.org and see if you can buy an individual copy of the upcoming Tournaments Illuminated, because there's going to be a wonderful article in there about artisans, regalia, and request for proposals. Basically, it's kind of my thoughts and directions and opinions on how a group can approach artisans and artisans can approach groups in a logical way to better help with the process of ordering regalia without getting people all miffed on all sides and everything. It makes things a lot easier. So check that out. To get started, basically this dress hook, which I guess the term is now garment attachment or something, it's kind of evolving. If you look at the websites in England about this, so I'm not really sure what to call them at this point, but we're doing a replica of one that's dated about 16th century, so 1500s, or maybe even 15th century, which is the 1400s. They were very popular back then. And so basically, first thing you want to do is make sure you have a fire extinguisher nearby, because you always have that. Okay, that's safe, important. Safety, you want an apron, you want safety glasses, hearing protection, but not this project, because I don't think we're going to be making enough loud noise to where you need hearing protection. If you have food or drink, make sure it's got a cover of some sort so things don't get in there. And basically just be aware that you're making jewelry, you will get poked, cut, sliced, diced, stuff like that. It can happen. Chances are it won't. Most injuries are just a simple scratch or something. So, okay, so let's get started. First, you want to start with, I'm going to use my notes here. I want a piece of 10 gauge brass rod and a piece of 14 gauge brass rod. Change cameras. Okay. My wife says change cameras. So you want the 10 gauge and the 14 gauge brass rods. And let's start with a 10 gauge. Cut that. Okay. A marker of some sort. And shoot, where is my ruler? Oh, there it is. Okay, my ruler. So what you want is, for the 10 gauge, you want it to be 60 millimeters. By the way, all the measurements are going to be in millimeters, because jewelry and the rest of the world does it that way. So we're going to mark this here. And then the next one is at 120. So use something to mark that so you can see it. And okay. Also, just to let you know, I'm not at my bench downstairs today, so I'm doing this literally on a 2x2 piece of plywood that's sitting on a towel. I varnished or urethaned the plywood. So now what you want to do is you want to cut this metal. And I'm using just tools that anybody can find in their home. And this is a little thick to be cutting. Okay. Ooh, maybe I should have gotten my dice. Okay. Come on. Okay, snap it off and cut the next one. Yeah, obviously this is hardened, so in a perfect world, when you get the metal, it will be softened. And there we go. Okay, so you have pieces there. And for the 14 gauge, and we're making a pair of these, by the way. So 14 gauge, we want 45 millimeters.
Jerry?
Yes.
We have a question on the chat.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of tools are you using for this?
Basically, I have a list of tools with the previous video. It's very simple. You want some chain nose pliers, a pair of nippers, and some round nose pliers. Now, I like to use round nose pliers where, if you can see, okay, here, if you can see the jaw, I've made some little notches in there for two reasons. One, when you're holding something with these, as you go in, you're not holding, okay, you're not holding parallel, you're holding in like a V and your stuff can shoot out, okay? So that's not good. But also, if you put a notch in there, you can hold these and it's really secure. You can see that? It's really secure. It doesn't want to pop out. And also, it tells you where a particular size is of your roll, of your jaw. So when you make a round piece, you can make several of them and they're consistent with each other. So, but yes, there is a list of tools and materials on that text document. Can you copy that and put it in the chat? Okay. My lovely assistant is my wife, and she's helping me watch the chat and everything. Her name is Oyun, so Anna, and she'll be helping me today. So you might hear her talk a little bit. Okay, so what were we doing? We were cutting. So we want 45 millimeters, and these. This is going to be a lot easier because it's a lot smaller. There we go. And you can use whatever marking tools you like. I purposely try to get a basic set of items to do the class with because not everybody starts out with tons and tons of tools. This is something you can do literally on your dining room table. I am working off of a an older table. What do you call them? Card table. So you can see that it's a little wobbly, but not too bad. Okay. And I have a video talking about all the tools and stuff you need to do this on YouTube. We can post that link later. And it has a complete tool list and videos to my YouTube channel, website, and blog for things that I feel are important, such as like safety in the jewelry shop and other things. Okay, so we have that. Okay, now we're going to file these ends real quick. This is an old file from my garage, so it's pretty grunged up. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide this out a little bit. And you can use a C-clamp with a piece of wood for a bench pin, or you can do something a little fancier like this and work off of this to do your filing with. It helps to have a pin like this with a little bit of a groove. Can you see it? Okay, maybe not. Okay, we're going to that just a little bit. Okay. Okay, if you notice, there's a little bit of a groove right here and there. This allows me to tilt this so I can file this. This is where you want something on the floor or something to catch your little filing, so an apron of some sort. So, and we're going to put some slight points on here. And let's use a slight one. Ooh, this is bouncy. Okay, we're not doing a lot of points on here. Okay. Now, just to show you, this is the point we're going with. So not very pointed at all compared to where it's just cut off. It's just a snipped off piece. So we're just putting, oops, a very fine point on there, but not sharp enough to like poke you or anything. So there's been speculation on how these were used. So basically, they weren't sure if you would put like an eyelet in your bottom of your skirt, and then one on the waist, and use these to hook your stuff up. I think they may have used like a brass eyelet for like a hook and eye, or like a brass hook. I see that as being fairly logical. If you have this, you can spend the money on these instead of these, then you should be able to afford that. And a lot of people had hooks in this, so you would just put two of those and then hook this into those. Though I think you would bend the loops a little more. Okay. One, we're going to flatten this because I really bent that a lot. Okay. Oof. This one's going to be nice. On top. This is where I should have annealed the metal before I started. Yes.
While you're filing, you need to speak much louder. You've been drowned out.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I probably should have annealed this metal to begin with before I cut it, because it's very definitely worth hardened. Okay, in a perfect world, you wouldn't have to anneal your metal, but chances are your metal is going to be half hard or hardened. So you will want to make sure that that it's soft enough to work. Okay. And notice when I'm filing this, I'm not flat. I've got the metal angled a little bit. So when I go flat with the file, I can put an angle on this piece. And there's about 30 steps. So, which I, okay. Okay. There's about 30 steps in doing these. So. Okay. Okay. Now that we're done filing, we're going to go to the sanding sticks. And we're going to just quickly clean this up, shine them. This is a 400 grit. So here you can go back and forth on like on a file. Just kind of spin your metal on your pin as you're doing this. Doesn't take much. You're just taking the marks out. And with this is all I use for the tips here too. Actually, I probably should use this. So let's use the 320 paper sanding stick for the You're just knocking the sharp edges off of that. Sharper, okay. Okay. And I have instructions on my website, on my blog, about making a sanding stick. And just to let you know, I am left-handed, so just treat what you're seeing like a mirror image of what you're doing. Okay. And the last but not least. Oops, there goes that. Okay. Now here's the fun part. Just very carefully take all of these metal filings, brush them onto your apron in your hand. And then you just kind of stand up and put this, put that on your table to clean up later because you do not want that on your floor. Okay. Now I think we're done with this part. So we're going to pull this off. Pick up one of those bench pins pretty cheaply. But like I said, you can use a C-clamp and a scrap piece of wood, preferably hardwood. So now the next part is we have to anneal the metal, and that's basically the process of softening it, because you don't want it to be hard, because this will be hard enough that when you go to bend it, you can actually snap the metal, and it's going to take a lot of force to bend these. So what we're going to do is we're just going to set them here. And we're going to get out the handy dandy little creme brulee torch. Come on. There we go. And we're just going to heat this up. Okay. Now what we're doing is we're taking the metal and literally taking the molecules, the grain structure of it, and breaking down from like really, really tight to like really big. No, that way the grains roll against each other a little easier. And the reason I'm using the creme brulee torch is because you can fill it with a butane, and is fairly safe. It's really hard to not use one of these properly. So, and this is just a fire brick. If you have charcoal, that actually works a little better because it reflects the heat back. And because it's so bloody cold out, the brick is a little cool. So, okay. Now we're going to go to this. It's really hard to see in this light in color change, so I'm just kind of guesstimating what I need to do. I might be running out of fuel here. Oh, there we go. Okay. Just double checking. Because you want this to be warm enough to anneal. Because when you go to turn the ends, you want them to be plenty. Yeah, I think I'm running out of fuel. You want them to be plenty soft, so you can do it without breaking and without having to use a lot of force. Okay. Oops, turn that off. Okay. And this should be enough to anneal. Okay, so we're going to cut. Okay. Now you want to make sure that you're always using tweezers to pick up your stuff because it will be hot. Hear that? Yeah, so those are plenty hot. Yeah, do not pick up hot stuff with your fingers. It will make your wife or significant other roll your eyes at you for being such an idiot. Right, babe? So, definitely, she said. Okay, so what we do now is pull these out because they should be ready to go. Try them a little bit. And I recommend using a metal pan for your water to hold your, when you're quenching stuff, because it's less likely to break. And if you're a klutz like me, you're always breaking stuff. Okay. Now, we're going to start with the big hooks. Go here, transition. Okay, we're going to start with the big hooks on the end. Okay, so again, I've got my pliers around those, and you don't want to grab right at the end because when you grab, you're going to pull off. You want to be back just a little bit. So, and then you don't want to just crank the pliers. You want to bend it, put a finger here to apply force as you're bending, and that way you can bend these hooks around. There you go. And that's about all you need. Now, make sure that you're putting this in the right direction, because if you have this sideways and you bend, you're kind of messed up. So make sure you have this lined up. Okay. Yeah, that's a little much. Okay. And then just finger there. Oops. Okay. And then just bend. Okay. So about like that. That's all you need. Okay, finger there. And this is why you anneal the metal. So that you can do that. Too high. There?
While you were curling the ends.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so this one's better? Better view? Yep. Okay. Okay. And there you go. They're not going to be perfect, and don't look for perfection. Okay. Now, that was on the large notch in here. That's why I like to notch them. It doesn't slide. Okay, sorry. Okay, so on this one, I'm going to use the smaller notch on the very end because I want these circles to be a lot closer. And I want them to go all the way around. So here, again, same kind of concept. But here, I'm going to bend all the way around. Okay, there you go. See, that's what I'm looking for. Make sure that's straight. And, oops, see, even with this, it can slip off. Okay, and that loop is a little big. So we're just gonna squeeze that down a little bit. Okay, so that one's not perfect, close enough. Okay. And we're just going to do these. Well, I find it interesting that these were used so much and they have found so many of them, but they're still not sure exactly quite how they were used. You know, like I was saying earlier, they might have used, you know, eyelets sewn into your edge of your skirt and your waist of your skirt, or like I said, I always thought it would be easier to just use a brass hook or a brass eyelet, like in a hook and eye, which are fairly easy to make. Using these techniques, you can make brass eyes very easily. Just use the leftover piece of your metal here. So here we go, last one. Now I encourage you to take and try and your metal that's not annealed to try and bend one of these, and you can see within moments the difference in how hard it is. You know, annealed versus unannealed. Okay, and these are our parts. So that's enough for 2 hooks. And what we're going to do is now we have to get the copper wire. Now, I have been using, what is this, 24 gauge wire, because I like the look and you don't have to use a lot. If you want to use something thinner, you can. It's just a different look, but you have to use a lot more wire and it's a lot more wrapping. So if you go to 22, I'd say that's probably the thickest wire you want because you do have to like bend it and pull it through. And it can be a little bit of a pain if you're doing it with something large. Okay, so we got a sip of coffee here real quick. Okay, now we're gonna, how much wire did I say? 24 gauge, 100 centimeters long. Let's get out the, okay, so 100 centimeters? 100, so 3. Okay, let's go with that. Okay, 100 centimeters. Okay, so this is 25, 25, 25, 25. Snip this off. Okay. And you're going to have some left over. That's the idea, is that you're going to have some waste. So maybe you could get away with 75, but let's go with 100 just to be on the safe side.
100 centimeters is approximately a meter, which is 3 feet and 4 inches.
Yeah, so that should be about what you need. So to have a little left over. So if you get it too short, then you're struggling to try and get everything to work, you know, with the wrapping and stuff. So, okay, and then just put that through. Okay. So now what we need to do on these ones, if you notice, oops, transition back. Okay. If you notice that these pieces, you can fold these up pretty easily because they're rounded. It's made from round wire. Okay. I didn't know at the time that they might have been flattened when I first did these, but someone mentioned that the sides in, what is it? Oh, what is that website that shows all the stuff? I can't remember the English one with all the fines, fines.eu or I can't remember what it is. But anyways, so they mentioned that on one of these that they have in their collection that the sides look like they've been flattened a little bit. And so I'm like, perfect. So now what you want to do is you want to take and have a, we're going to put this over here. You want to have a bench block that's polished, okay, and a hammer that is well polished. You can see how polished that is, okay, because when you're hammering, any tools that touch non-ferrous metals, as you hammer on them, if there are any marks on here, you leave them on your metal, and it makes it harder to polish them and clean them up. So if it's polished, what you're doing is leaving a spot that's polished. So you want to do that. Okay, and then you can see here that this wasn't cut. I didn't bend this exactly right. That ends up a little bit. So, but that's okay. Okay, what we're going to do here is just in. Will this work? Yeah. You can see here, just in this area here, we're going to flatten it a little bit so that the pieces tend to stick together and not shift around as much. So we're just going to hammer it just a little bit. Okay, so. Okay. Now, if you notice, I did not noticeably make that thinner, but there is a little flat spot there and there, so, but not much of one. So let's do that a little more. The other side. There we go. There we go. And if you notice, if I get closer, I don't know if you can see it. That is actually almost polished now. You can see it kind of flash in the light a little bit because that's picking up the texture from the hammer, which is polished. So let's do this one. Okay. Okay, babe, what are we doing on time?
10:37.
10:37, okay.
Wilhelm about it's fines.org.uk.
Yes, fines.org.uk. Thank you, Wilhelm. Okay, so, and we're getting low on time, so we're going to speed this up a little bit. I'm going to use the peen to put a flat area on these. And okay, you don't want those very thick either or thinned out either because then they'll bend off and break. I think we'll get time to wrap one of these, but not both. Last time. Okay. Here's the fun part. Okay. What you want to do is you have to wrap this wire and then bring it up and loop it through itself and pull it tight. So what you want to do is you want to take about the length of a couple finger joints here, bend that sideways. Okay. Yeah, actually, let's go to, yeah, we're still here. So you want to bend that sideways. Okay. I'm going to come up and make a loop again about the same length. So basically what you have is, well, you can see it here, kind of an L shape. Can you see that? Okay. Okay, that's the shape you're looking for. Now the fun part is you get to pick two of these up you're going to, you just kind of have to hold these all together, okay? And they're going to move around on you, okay? You want to put this up here so it's sticking out a little bit. Okay. Now point that down, okay. Now this is where you have to start wrapping. I don't know if you can see this very well. Okay, keep this taut, pull this tight, and okay, here's where you keep everything real tight, and this is where you wrap the wire right next to each other. This is okay. Now that you got a couple on there, try to fold this flat. And that's not going to want to go very well. Okay. Come on, go flat. Okay. See, this is the fiddly part. Okay, once you get that started. Okay. Now this is, you wrap this as tight as you can. And okay. Can you see here where I'm starting? It's starting to wrap around. You want this, you don't want gaps in there, because if you squeeze this together, you'll end up with loose. So this has to be as tight as you can do it, okay? And you can do about 3 or 4 of these, and then your hand starts getting really sore because you're pulling on this wire so hard. And keep this up nice and close. And this one's sliding, so. Okay, now you got about 1/8 of an inch there, 1/4 of an inch. You can start holding this. Just kind of do that there. And this is just a real simple hook. Now, do you need these side pieces and the copper? No, you just need literally, this is all you need. That's all you literally need for a garment hook. The rest of this is just decoration, pure decoration. Okay. Okay, now you can kind of move to the other side and keep going. Okay. Squeeze that in.
Gerald, will
Yes.
holding the piece in your right hand be a bit easier by using flat pliers?
If you have a set of parallel closed pliers, yeah, I wouldn't use this normal pliers like this, because again, they close like that.
More
What you
hooks so that the hooks don't spin around?
I've never had luck with that, but other people are more dexterous than I am, and they could probably get it to work. If you had parallel closed pliers that don't close like this, but close like that, it works much better.
That's
So
parallel pliers.
Yes, but a lot of people don't have those, because a basic set of those runs anywhere from 18 to 36 bucks. So I'm trying to do this, with the stuff that you might have in your garage. So. And so there's a lot of tools you can use to make this a lot easier. And I actually have jigs to help me with this when I'm doing them, because I usually will end up doing about 20 or 30 of these at a time. So, okay, now we'll pull this down. Want to make sure that copper is pushed down very far. Okay. Now we're getting right up to the end here. So okay. Now if you notice, we're right up, and we're right up at the end with our wire. So you see our wires coming off there. Okay. Now this is where this loop comes in. which was a pain to keep there. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to put this wire through the loop. Cut this off. So, yeah, maybe, okay, maybe 75 millimeters. Okay. Okay, now we're going to take this and we're going to, okay, we're going to bend this around and we're going to pull this loop up a little bit. Test mic. Hello, hello, hello.
We can hear that.
Oh.
Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, our system said that the mic quit working. So, yeah, I don't know where I dropped out, but the system popped up a message saying that the mic wasn't working. So, I had to stop and fix that real quick. Okay. So, I hope you caught where I was saying make the loop here. Oops, let's go back. Okay, so we have the loop and we're pulling this through to make it tight. So now this is where you want to be careful because that point can dig into your skin there. So grab this wire and make sure this is pulled tight. Okay.
It stopped when you talked about the loop, so.
Okay. So hopefully this will be recorded and you'll be able to see what I did. So now what I have is, oops, and it's a little off there. Okay. So I have that loop there and I'm going to try and pull this even tighter. Oops. Okay. And that broke off, which is okay because you want that end to break off. There's a little bit of a hook there. So reach in there and you just reach in that little piece that was you were pulling on. Reach in and snip that off. Okay. And then what you want to do is just go in there with a sanding stick. There you go. Then you do the same thing for this end. What I like to do, and this is just me, if you can do it, Just pull it through. No, but that's not going to work. So snip this off. And you want to kind of bend this end over a little bit so it kind of hooks. Okay. Okay. What I did there on the end is the wire that I wrapped and I pulled through. I just have a single piece of wire hooked over it and pulled through to keep it tight. But this can slide out. So what I did is I made like a little tiny hook and pressed it down. Okay. And then you just kind of hit that with a sanding stick. Take off any sharp edges. Slide it in place. And there you go. You have a garment hook or garment attachment or however they want to call them, a dress hook. And that's pretty much it. Does anybody have any questions?
Gerald, I came into this late. Do you have a handout that you can forward on, or I know that there's going to be, this is being recorded, so I can always go back and watch the video.
I have a video. I have a video with a list of materials and stuff. It's also based on a Facebook album of mine. Let's see if I can find it here. I don't have it on this list.
We will make it available after Sparkling Shiny is over, so that way we can have that attached to the video.
Yep, and I'll have some additional stuff